Hey folks, it's Kennedy Hawk here from the MCM team, and we are back to wrap up this fantastic Fives series. So this week we're going to be talking all about the Age of Apocalypse wave, Wave 8, and my 5 or more favorite aspect cards from that wave. So let's get into it. Again, happy anniversary to the Marvel Champions community, or at this point, happy holidays. We're just a couple days from Christmas for my family, and whatever holiday you might celebrate with your family. I hope you're having an awesome time playing some Marvel Champions. So we've gone through this for 7 weeks, mostly on Saturdays, but this is a Sunday again because a child decided to sleep in the office bed once again on Saturday night. So we are here on Sunday going through the Age of Apocalypse wave and Cycle 6, talking about my 5 favorite aspect or basic cards from that wave, and a little bit about my memories from that wave. So Wave 8 was a wave like none other. We had a really good campaign box, in my opinion, and 4 awesome hero packs. I really think that the aspect cards in this wave made it really hard to choose only 5 cards because so many of them were so good and very important for that aspect. I feel like this is one of the waves where we've got the biggest injection of new aspect cards that add archetypes or like complete archetypes or really like make it so it's solid enough to build a deck around in each of the 4 aspects that it's really exciting and really fun. This is Modern Marvel Champions, so we're caught up to date now. When we started this video series, Magneto wasn't even out yet, so some of these cards I couldn't have picked before because I didn't have them in my hands until now. But we saw a lot of exciting things like the continuation of player side schemes, a lot of anti-minion tech, a new archetype for aggression, a super fun, super exciting wave of Marvel Champions. It was also announced during this wave that Caleb Grace will be stepping away from Marvel Champions, something that makes me very sad, but also very excited to see what he does next. So I think Marvel Champions is in good hands, and this is a cool wave to have be the wave coming out while Caleb announces that he's going to be moving on from the game. So we wrapped up the Mutant era in this awesome wave in a campaign box and 4 hero packs. Let's get to the meat. Let's get to the 5-ish favorite aspect cards. So my first one, there were a lot of good leadership cards in Magneto's pack. I struggled to not just make this 5 leadership cards, and it was close. But I'm going to say You Got This. You Got This is a perfect example of how the designers have learned about how to really encourage that using allies not to chump block archetype that we need so desperately in leadership. So this is a 1-cost event that is tactic traded hero response. After you exhaust your hero to make a basic thwart or attack, discard an ally you control. Add that ally's matching power to your hero's power for this use and ready your hero. This is awesome because a lot of the older cards that would try to use allies as batteries, outside of strength and numbers, things like teamwork and things like mass attack, they would require to use your ally's activation. But if you're going to play an ally and use their activation and then play an extra card to like barely get a benefit from that activation, it doesn't feel very good. But with You Got This, I can play a Squirrel Girl, ping everything for 1, swing an attack for 1, then attack with my hero with +1 attack, discard Squirrel Girl, and ready my hero so I can do a second attack in that turn, or a thwart, or a defense, or whatever I need to do. That's super powerful. The fact that you don't have to target an exhausted ally is something, if this card had come out in wave 1 or 2 of Marvel Champions, it probably would have cost 2, and it probably would have had to target an exhausted ally or exhaust the ally and hero to do this ability. And this is way better and way more exciting to build around as a leadership player. So I love that all these new cards take advantage of getting rid of allies in different ways, but also don't like hinder the use of that ally so they don't feel like an extra tax upon playing a card. All right, card number 4 was Suit Up, another leadership card. This one from the campaign box itself. This is a 2-cost event, alter ego action. Search your deck and discard pile for an ally and upgrade that can be attached to that ally and add them to your hand. So you're basically paying 3 resources because of the card itself to go find 2 cards in your deck. Now this might not seem like a great investment, but it's really helpful for scenarios when you might not have a lot of allies in your deck, but you want to be able to find one really quickly, so you have a chump blocker in the beginning. Or if you want to build around that ally, right? Grab something and an upgrade that can go onto it. I find this really fun to be able to go find a signature ally and an upgrade that might be able to go onto it. There's nothing saying you have to play that upgrade onto that ally either. So you can use that upgrade to pay for that ally. You could play that upgrade on your hero if it's Warrior of the Great Web or something like that. So I think that this is like the pivotal, in my opinion, card that sets up a lot of combo and Voltron ally builds. I think it's a card it's not overlooked. There's a ton of decks on the DB that use it, and they use it very well. But I feel like after Magneto's pack came out with such whiz bang, leadership cards, this is one that kind of gets forgotten, even came out in this wave. But we had really good influx of leadership cards in Wave 8. Probably why I liked it so much. All right, card number 3, not leadership. You're welcome. Instead, it's Generation X. So this is a player side scheme that came in Jubilee's pack, Victory 0. Each X-Men character gets +1 thwart while making a basic thwart against this side scheme. But who cares, because it only has 3 per player, so most hero events can just nuke it immediately. The cool part is when defeated, each player may search their deck and discard pile for an identity-specific event and add it to their hand. That's awesome, right? Let's go get Unleash Nova Force. Let's go get the exact arrow I need as Hawkeye. I find this to be super fun. I'm not quite sure why it's themed with Generation X, and I guess I'll just randomly include it in decks that the theme doesn't make sense in, but I love the ability, right? Getting to go find one of your favorite events that's probably the reason you're playing that hero seems like a good inclusion. Also thins your deck and all those other good things. I like this player side scheme. I still think player side schemes are very, very strong, but they're fun. It's fun to be strong. You're a hero. You're not someone wandering around Middle-earth probably losing. You're probably running around Earth winning very traumatically or dramatically, because that's how comics go. And Generation X lets you do just that. All right, card number 2, a protection card. Serve and protect. And there were a lot of good aggression cards, so I'm sorry we haven't had an aggression card yet. But I wanted to put one of these alliance cards in there, because when the first alliance cards came out, they were okay. Some of them were good. Some of them were problem solvers, they were okay. But the new alliance cards are super fun. And this card in particular, I think, really helps complete a lot of protection decks. 2 costs, serve and protect, alliance, so you're only paying 2 for this. When any amount of threat would be placed on the main scheme, exhaust an X-Force character and an X-Men character, prevent that threat, and give each of those characters a tough status card instead. So you can use this to stop Ultron in Phase 3. You can use this to prevent a giant scheme that happens and get tough cards on your characters. Super fun, super interesting. Does all the things you want to do. Lets your allies sustain and continue blocking multiple attacks for the whole team. Also prevents threat if you're really struggling with threat as a protection solo player. I find Serve and Protect to be awesome, and not just because Cannonball's in the art. Finally, the final card, card number 1, is actually 2 cards. I put in, I know, joke's on me. I put in Squared Off and Come Get Me Bub. I find these cards to be incredibly fascinating. For the longest time, it seemed like we were really going to push aggression to be that minion handling aspect. Nobody else was going to touch our minion space. We were the minion people. But in this wave alone, we got both for protection and for leadership, an event that lets you find a minion and then gain some benefit. This is really important to characters that like to have minions on the board. Even Hawkeye, right, if you have an explosive arrow in hand, can use this to gain some huge benefit and hopefully wipe that minion out for no cost. It sets up a lot of combo decks, a lot of new archetypes for these aspects that didn't have them before. I'm running things like Hard Knocks in my Come Get Me Bub decks, which seems crazy, but I'm doing it, So I really, 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 really like these cards. They unfortunately pushed a lot of the aggression cards out of the way because I really like some of the new aggression stuff we got this wave. But leadership and protection really blew it out of the water in this wave for me. So, with that, happy holidays. We are caught up on Marvel Champions and our weekly What Are My 5 Favorite Aspect Cards contents. I want to know what you think. What do you think about the current state of Marvel Champions at the conclusion of Wave 8, so at the release of Magneto, if you're watching this later? Are you excited about the future of Marvel Champions? Because I know I am. I think S.H.I.E.L.D. is probably going to be my most hyped wave ever, so very excited to see what else comes out in it. At this point, we're almost at the end of 2024, so we are heading out on vacation with the kids to see family and stuff like that for the holidays in a couple days. MCM YouTube channel will be on hiatus for a couple weeks until the first week of January, and then we'll be back to our weekly videos. So, until then, happy holidays. I hope you get to play a lot of Marvel Champions, or if you don't have everything, I hope you get a lot of Marvel Champions for whatever holiday you might celebrate with your family, and we will see you in the new year. Thanks, everybody.